The logistics of the medieval night begin not with light, but with the heavy, vibrating weight of bronze. At midnight, the dormitory bell, the signum, cuts through the thick silence of the monastery. It is not a festive chime, it is a somber, rhythmic toll designed to pull the mind from the depths of sleep into a state of immediate quiet readiness. In the darkness of the dormitory, the air is cold, smelling of old stone and the dry lanolin scent of wool. There is no talking. The only sounds are the rustle of heavy habits being pulled over tunics and the collective rhythmic clack of wooden sandals meeting the flagstone floor. This is the first logistical hurdle of the day, moving 50 men from their beds to the choir in total darkness, guided only by the muscle memory of the stone walls and the faint flickering glow of a single tallow candle held by the circuitor. The procession to the church for the night office is a study in synchronized movement. The monks move in a single silent file, hoods pulled forward to shield their faces, eyes fixed on the heels of the man in front of them. This is the logistics of the monastic file, a practiced method of moving a large group through narrow, dark corridors without the chaos of a crowd. The sound is a constant, low-frequency shushing of robes against stone and the rhythmic strike of sandals. As they enter the choir, the acoustics change. The cold, damp air of the church amplifies the sound of heavy oak stalls being lowered. Each monk takes his place in the shadows, his presence marked only by the sound of his breathing and the faint rustle of the parchment pages of the psalter being turned in the dim candlelight. As the sun rises, the monastery shifts its logistical focus to the Scriptorium, the engine room of medieval knowledge. Here, the work begins long before a single word is written. The primary material is not paper, but vellum animal skin that has been soaked, scraped, and stretched until it is as taut as a drum skin. A monk's first hour is spent in the preparation, using a curved knife called a lunellum to shave away any remaining imperfections. The sound is a dry, grating scrape, a repetitive and hypnotic noise that fills the quiet room. You can hear the tension in the skin as the blade passes over it. It is a slow, methodical process that requires immense patience, turning a raw biological material into a smooth ivory-colored surface, ready to hold the weight of history. Once the vellum is prepared, the focus shifts to the micro-logistics of the quill and the ink. The scribe must constantly maintain his tools. There is the sharp, precise snip of a penknife as he recuts the tip of a goose feather to ensure a clean line. The act of writing itself is a sensory experience. The high-pitched, rhythmic scratch of the quill against the dry vellum, followed by the soft, wet click as the pen is dipped back into the horn of iron gall ink. The ink itself has a metallic, vinegary scent that lingers in the air. Because the ink is thick and slow drying in the damp scriptorium, the scribe must sit in a specific frozen posture, his breath held steady to avoid blurring the wet letters. It is a life governed by the millimeter and the minute. In the refectory, the logistics of the midday meal are governed by the sign language of silence. Since no words are permitted, a complex system of hand signals serves as the monastery's internal communication network. To ask for bread, a monk brings his fingers and thumbs together in a circle. For salt, he shakes his hand as if sprinkling grains. The room is filled with a unique visual noise, the rapid bird-like movement of hands across the long wooden tables. It is a highly efficient, silent choreography that allows a massive household to function without breaking the meditative great silence. The lack of speech heightens the other sounds, the rhythmic clink of wooden spoons against ceramic bowls and the deep, hollow glug of ale being poured into stone mugs from a heavy clay pitcher. While the monks eat, the logistics of the mind are tended to by the reader of the week. From a high stone pulpit, his voice provides the only human melody in the room. The acoustics of the refectory are designed to carry his voice over the sounds of eating, creating a reader's pulse, a steady, droning narration that keeps the monks' thoughts fixed on the divine while their bodies are nourished. The sound of his voice is steady and unhurried, reflecting the pace of the rule of Saint Benedict. It acts as a metronome for the meal. The monks eat at the speed of the reading, ensuring that the act of consumption remains as disciplined and rhythmic as the act of prayer. Outside the stone walls, the Physic garden operates on the logistics of the seasons and the soil. Here, the monks tend to the simple medicinal herbs like sage, hyssop, and rue. The sounds here are earthy and tactile, the rhythmic thud of a metal trowel hitting soil that has been tilled for centuries, and the dry, papery shush of herbs being bundled together with twine. The monks must track the logistics of growth with absolute precision. Each plant must be harvested at a specific hour of the day to ensure its potency. The air is thick with the scent of crushed mint and damp earth. a sensory contrast to the sterile, incense-filled interior of the abbey. The final logistical layer of the garden is the weight of the sun. Without mechanical clocks, the monks rely on the shadow cast by the abbey's great tower. The garden is a living sundial. As the shadow creeps across the herb beds, it signals the transition from labor to prayer. The monks work with a sense of slow time, their movements dictated by the celestial mechanics of the sun, rather than the frantic ticking of a modern clock. There is a deep psychological restfulness in this surrender to the natural cycle. When the shadow reaches the edge of the stone well, the tools are cleaned with a final metallic scrape and returned to their wooden pegs, ending the manual labor of the day. As the sun sets, the monastery enters the great silence with the service of Compline. The logistics of the day come to a close with the bolting of the great doors. It is a heavy, final sound, a slide of a massive oak beam across the stone frame, followed by a deep, resonant thud that vibrates through the floorboards. This sound signals to the monks that the world outside has been officially shut out. The monastery becomes a sealed vessel. The pace of the movement slows even further. The monks move like shadows toward the dormitory, their tasks complete, their records closed. The logistics of the soul now take over as the community prepares for the absolute stillness of the night. The final act is the snuffing of the tallow. A single monk walks the length of the cloister, extinguishing the candles that have burned since the night office. There is a repetitive, sharp sound as the metal snuffer meets the flame, followed by the faint, acrid smell of blue smoke drifting upward into the vaulted ceiling. One by one, the pools of light vanish, returning the abbey to the cavernous shadows of Chapter 1. The day ends exactly where it began, in the cold, silent dark, with the only sound being the distant, rhythmic ticking of the night thrum and the anticipation of the midnight bell that will start the cycle anew.